Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show.
What's up, everybody? It's Paul Neeson with the Raw Life Health Show. And I've been getting a lot of comments about everything I've been saying the last couple of weeks. And I've been kind of ignoring the comments, not because, I'm ignoring them. I've actually been reading all of them. Some of them don't really warrant a reply because some of the things people are saying are just ridiculous. Speaking of today's subject, the ridiculous comments that people talk about. Now, I'm not going to give it much time, so I know you're going to have a lot of comments, some of you, in the bottom of this video, and I'm not going to waste time replying to them and everything else because some of this stuff is just getting out of hand. But I will take a couple of minutes out of my important time in my life right now to reply to some of these ridiculous comments. Specifically, there's one specific thing I want to discuss. There's a whole bunch of people out there that are eating a diet of mostly fruit. And I think that's a very limiting thing to do. I mean, I did that at one point. I think the key to a good diet is a variety and quality. And I think when you limit it to just fruit, you're really, taking out the variety part. And it's not just variety for taste, it's variety for nutrients. So somebody really has to know what they're doing if they're going to limit something to that degree. And from what I see, these people really don't know what they're doing. And here's the issue here. And I made another video about this. And at the end of this video, I'll just hit play and we'll see the rest of that about the fruit issue. And that'll discuss that. I highly recommend people not limit themselves to just one particular type of food as the majority of their diet. Yes, the highest quality food should be raw, ripe, fresh, organic fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. But that's not a fruit, a vegetable, a nut, or a seed. That's a whole variety of those things. So that takes care of that issue, and that's it, right there. Now, the real thing is, the real crazy comments are coming with these people on this high fruit diet, saying they told me so. Well, the only reason I do this, I don't want to get caught up in these arguments and conversations. The only reason I do this is to let people know out there what's been proven to work over long term. And there's never ever in the history of man been any villages, tribes, or anywhere around the world that have lived long term, even short term, on a high fruit diet. And as a matter of fact, there are places around the world that have been on a vegetarian diet long term. I'm going to now, talk about this fruit diet. Then we're going to see Stanley Bass. Stanley spoke about fruit too because he was once a fruitarian, thanks to Arnold Derritt, who's a great writer. But Stanley Bass is going to talk at the end of this video about his issues with the high fruit diet. And don't get us wrong, fruit is one of the greatest foods you can put in your body. If you eat it, if you limit it, you don't overdo it. If you're getting it raw, ripe, fresh, and organic, and 90% of the fruit you can get today in the stores is not ripe. So you're starting off from a bad point there. But if you can get it raw, ripe, fresh, and organic, and a good part of your diet is fruit, but you're not limiting yourself from other things, you'll be fine. But most of the people out there will limit themselves. They'll eat unripe fruit, and they'll think they're doing something right. But here it goes. 100% raw vegan diet, I have found, is not practical in today's world. Whether you're doing the Hippocrates diet, whether you're doing the 80-10-10 diet, whether you're doing some other type of diet, there's nobody that's ever done it in a long time to prove that it works. So, I know everyone feels excited about what they're doing and they want to, shout out and say what they're doing is best way and everything else, but what I have found is people eating a high fruit diet, it's not the best way to go for a long term. It's just like the raw vegan diet. Any way you do it is a wonderful cleanse for the body. But long term, excluding many of the other nutrients that are found, the wider a variety of your diet, the better off you're going to be. And if you exclude your diet to just some fruits, especially out of season and unripe, trust me, that's not the way to go. So if you're living up north, diet is not going to work. Because how are you going to get in-season fruits all the time? I heard a great debate on the internet recently about cooked versus raw, and it was quite interesting. I still support the raw food diet. I recommend the raw food diet. I think getting our food as fresh as possible is ideal for all of us. And when it comes to cooked food versus raw food, without a doubt, I think raw, ripe, fresh, and organic is the highest quality food we can get. However, the lady that was supporting the cooked food made a very good point. She said, You know, she was talking about, the lady that was supporting the raw food said, raw food is more economical, it's more ecological for the environment, and so on. And the lady that was doing the cook food did have a great reply. She said, that's not necessarily true. If you're living in the north, let's say, you live in somewhere like Minnesota or New York or Colorado or somewhere, you know, it's much more feasible to get some root vegetables that grow there throughout the winter, to dig them up and cook them, than it is to have tropical fruit shipped in through a plane that's picked unripe, just so you could be eating it in this cold environment, which doesn't go along with the environment, which doesn't go along with your climate anyway. So there are times and places for everything. If somebody is sick, if somebody is living in the tropics, you know, they'll have a much easier time eating a diet that has a lot of fruit as its main part. But if somebody is living like most of the world in a cooler climate, you know, the key is really eating locally. You know, that's the best diet you can actually get, is eating the foods as local as possible. Now, I used to be one to tell people it doesn't really matter where you are because we're not running around outside without our clothes on. We're in our houses, and the temperature in our houses is always going to be, you know, like lukewarm temperature. So it doesn't matter what the temperature is outside. As a matter of fact, you know, when I was living in New York, it was sometimes hotter in my house in the wintertime than it was in the summertime. However, I still had to step outside, and it was freezing outside. And we have to, you know, I've been corrected in my teaching because we have to realize, you know, everything we eat has a tremendous amount of things to do with our environment. And the real key is to eat locally grown foods. And as I said the other day, here I am in South Florida for the majority of the times, so I can enjoy tropical fruits on a regular basis. I even grow them for my trees so I can wait till they fall off the tree before I pick them up from the ground and eat them. But I can tell you, when I go to the store to buy a fruit, it's not even if it's the same fruit that I'm growing in my yard, you can't get it tree ripened. It's a completely different story. Now, if somebody's living in, you know, in Puerto Rico or Hawaii or Costa Rica or something like that, where they're able to get these raw, ripe, tropical, fresh fruits on a regular basis, that's a completely different story. The same thing with the greens. I'm picking greens right out of my new garden, and I'm juicing them right away. Now, if I take those greens and I let them sit on the shelf for 3 weeks, they're not going to be as nutrient dense, or they're not going to have as many nutrients as they would, you know, as if I'm picking them fresh. So there's no one answer for everyone. That's what I'm saying. What do you think of Dr. Arnold Ehret?
Well, I was a follower of his. That's what turned me to Fruitarianism. Dr. Cushing was a follower of Arnold Ehret, and he did it until things went wrong with his family. So that's when he started.
What do you mean until things went wrong with Dr. Curcio's family?
Yeah, he was a raw food fruitarian, and he lived down. He used to, when he was in New York, he used to buy cartons of grapes, and he used to eat them. And after he went on the grape cure, Johanna Brandt, the grape cure, he lived on it for 34 days, and then his teeth were loose in his gums.
Wow.
And 2 of them fell out from the deficiencies caused by the high malic acid in the grapes. The fruit acids are, what people don't understand is that fruit acids have to be neutralized by the blood alkalis, and those minerals come from the bones. So people that eat a lot of fruit have trouble with the gums and teeth and bones.
All right, everybody, there it was. That was my answer to these crazy comments people are getting, and just to clear up some of the things. And I'm sure we'll get a lot of comments on this. And, you know, I respect everyone's comments, but keep it nice. Keep it nice and I'll post them. But if you don't keep it nice, you're going to get deleted. Not because I disagree, but because, you know, people don't have a nice way of saying things. So, all right, everybody, there you go. My beard's growing. You know, life is flowing. And I pray that you're having a wonderful day. Have a great raw life.
Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show.